my lovelies, how's it going? I do have slightly Wednesday's mom vibes today. That's because I freshly dyed my hair last night and it always starts off a little bit too dark. It does gradually fade to the right colour, but I just look a bit gothic. Apart from all the pink and pusheen, but you know, it probably doesn't help that I didn't wash the conditioner out properly. So it is looking a bit slick. But yeah, this is some life-changing content right here. Actually, I've got some more irrelevant rambling to do. Propagation update. I think there were finally enough roots to plant it in a pot with soil. And of course, I did have to get this cat pot when I saw it. Anyway, this is an art channel. You came here for the art. What are we doing today? So I've actually got 2 pet portraits to do today. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to have a little chat about a topic that you guys actually voted for, and that is rekindling the joy of art. So while I'm working on the pet portrait, I'm going to share with you my 10 top tips that really helped me get back into art after a very long break. So let's get drawing and chatting. So these are the pets that I'm going to be painting today. We've got Gizmo and Ollie, but I'm going to give Ollie a bit of a floral background. They're both going to be drawn on A5 watercolour paper and drawn in fine liner with a watercolour wash. If you're looking to learn how to draw animals, I would highly recommend this book by Ken Hultgren. He worked for Disney in the 40s on Bambi and Snow White, and I'll be following his methods today. I shall pop a link in the description for this book and also for the video where I worked through it. So what actually qualifies me to make a 10 top tips for rekindling the joy of art list? Surely I've always been full of joy about art, right? Nope. Like most people, I absolutely loved art all through my childhood until I went to college. There, I had a tutor who was basically the real-life version of the food critic from Ratatouille. He believed that all art should be dark, serious, and deeply meaningful. And I'm quite clearly the opposite of that. He would probably hate this channel. And so I got a bad grade. And honestly, I pretty much didn't create any art for nearly 10 years. It took me a long time to realise that even though cheerful art might not feature in high-end galleries, if you walk into almost any home or public space, they're filled with beautiful, mood-boosting artwork and designs. I'm going to be very honest here. The art world can be a bit snooty sometimes, but art is completely subjective, and one person's opinion should never hold more weight than anybody else's. Eventually, I found my way back into creating art through pet portraits. I loved the joy that they brought to my customers. Sometimes the portraits were of beloved pets that they'd lost, and it felt so rewarding to create something that was so meaningful for them. The demand for pet portraits did start to dwindle through and after lockdown, so instead I had the idea to write and illustrate children's books. My daughter Lily even helped me with some of the plot ideas. I really enjoyed the challenge of learning something new and pushing myself to draw from imagination. There were definitely weeks, even months, when I lost motivation again, but about 10 months ago I slipped a disc and something clicked, both literally and metaphorically. Since then, my joy and motivation to create have been a lot more consistent. So from this experience, I've put together a list of 10 top tips that might just help you rekindle the joy of art too. Okay, so that is the line work of these 2 drawings done. Let's add a splash of colour while we discuss those 10 top tips. Tip number 1, is it burnout? If we are feeling especially stressed or exhausted, then we're going to find it pretty much impossible to create. If you suspect that it is burnout, I did actually make a whole video on this subject, so I shall pop a link to that video if you would like to go into a bit more depth on this point. So what can we do if it is burnout? Something that I always find really helpful is to actually write down a list of all of the things that might be contributing to stressing me out. That might be all of those responsibilities or expectations that I either put on myself or have been put on me, and then I ask myself, is there anything here that I can let go of? Sometimes we just need to take a break. We need to reconnect with nature or with friends and family and go and have some fun or have relaxing real life experiences. Tip number 2, social media inspiration versus comparison. Sometimes we can look to social media for inspiration and we can find ourselves actually being left feeling kind of rubbish. And that's because we're quite often exposed to like the top 1% in the world of artists. And if it wasn't for social media, you just wouldn't see that. I think the main thing is to have a mindfulness when you go on social media of how it's making you feel. Perhaps try and limit scrolling or set boundaries for yourself. So I've actually deleted social media from my phone. I haven't deleted it from my life, obviously, I'm on YouTube. It's just that I have to fire up the PC if I want to look at it. And a couple of positives that have come from that is that I'm actually sleeping about an hour and a half more a night. And I've also stopped with that kind of knee-jerk response to look at my phone every 3 minutes when I feel the slightest flicker of boredom. I have felt a lot more present. It can be uncomfortable to be present with your thoughts and not have that means for escapism. I am still kind of working on that, but I think that in the long run, setting that boundary will be beneficial. I was actually recommended a book by a friend called Digital Minimalism. If reducing the amount of social media in your life is something that you're interested in, then I would highly recommend that book to you as well. Point number 3, switch things up. Sometimes if we're trying to make money from our art, we might create ourselves a kind of brand or recognizable style, and that can put us into a kind of box, like we're only allowed to create that one thing in that one style. But working with different mediums or styles or drawing different subjects can actually really help us with our artistic development as a whole. Sometimes it can make you realize that we might have actually been headed down the wrong path. Change can be scary. It can feel like going back to square one. What if nobody likes it? I personally made a really big shift going from like wildlife and pet portraits to illustrating children's books and YouTube. But those are the things that really send me into that flow state. And that is what you're looking for, something that makes time warp. Tip number 4, routines and rewards. Perhaps if you're creating art for work or you've got a project that you really want to complete, it might be worth working out a schedule. You sit and you work on that project regardless of whether you feel motivated to or not. Sometimes we can be perfectionists, but we do have to kind of tell ourselves that done is better than perfect. It can be helpful to break down the things that you need to do into low energy tasks and higher energy tasks. So if you are feeling particularly flat one day, you have got those easier tasks to fall back on. It can be really helpful to temptation bundle, which means when you sit down to work, that's when you can listen to your favorite podcast or music or enjoy a nice hot drink, or maybe you could call a friend while you're working. Just find that something that helps get you in that seat, paintbrush in hand, and make sure to celebrate all of the little wins. And the more that you do that, it kind of solidifies a habit. Tip number 5, set small achievable goals. So I don't actually set goals anymore. I just write to-do lists. I'll sit and I'll work out all of the things that I know that I could get done today or perhaps this week, and they're things that I've done before and I know are realistic. And that way I do get that sense of achievement when I've completed them and I can tick them off several times a day. I honestly couldn't count the amount of times where I've set bigger goals, like I want to run a marathon by the end of the year, and I've literally quit running within a week. Really, I would be better to just say, I'm going to try and run 3 times a week for like 20 minutes and then see where I go from there. Tip number 6, create a dedicated art space. So I've got a couple of shelves here with things that I find inspirational or perhaps projects that I've completed. So you might have seen that I've got lots of Mariah merch on this shelf. I've got my plants. I've got everything somewhat organised in these drawers, so I've got no excuses. You really want to make it an inviting place to be. Make it as easy as possible to just sit down and get started straight away each day. Tip number 7, reflect on why you started. Remind yourself why you love art in the first place and try and figure out if anything's changed. Sometimes we can actually lose sight and unintentionally become focused on the wrong things. Sometimes we just need to step back and recenter ourselves. Tip number 8, find your community. It can really help to have somebody like-minded to chat to motivate each other or challenge each other, maybe collaborate. It could be going for fun arty days out with friends, like going to do a paint-a-pot or going on an adventure with your Draw Stuff Outside books. Or it could be an online community on Discord or here on YouTube. It makes a really big difference psychologically to have somebody who is on the same page as you. Tip number 9, create without pressure. I think especially if you're creating with the intention to sell or promote or share your work online, we can become so worried about what other people are going to think about it that we completely lose the joy of the process. It can be helpful to dedicate some time to create art that's purely for the sake of joy, like we did when we were kids. That might be in the form of art games with your friends. It might be setting silly challenges for yourself, or it might just be keeping a sketchbook that is for your eyes only. Tip number 10, be kind to yourself. Encourage yourself like you would a friend. Now, I know that that is easier said than done. It does take a really long time to reframe if you have been talking to yourself negatively for a long time. I'd say first of all, just recognize it. And secondly, you want to write yourself a list of positive things to say about yourself to counter it and challenge it, but they need to be things that you feel are true. So say if you think to yourself, I'm the worst at art, we might think that the counter of that would be to say that I am the best at art, which your brain is just going to go, well, that's not true. I mean, for one, art is subjective, so who's to say? Instead, you want to find things that you know are true. So for example, I might challenge that by saying, I've created lots of pet portraits that so many people have been really pleased with, and they would say that my art is good. So my brain knows that that's a positive, but it's not like ridiculous. So write yourself that list, ask for your friend's help, or think about it from a friend's perspective, nice things that they might say about you, and they will be the points that you use to challenge that negative self-talk. Okay, so I am going to knuckle down and get these finished. So let's make this a musical time lapse. I'm feeling jazzy today. Okay, so I am all done with these for today. Even though they're kind of in a similar style, they have actually turned out really differently. I think the one of Ollie has almost come out a bit more expressive. I think because quite a lot of it was drawn from imagination. I was struggling with his eyes quite a lot. I'm not sure if I'm 100% happy with them, and I'm not 100% sure about the composition. Perhaps maybe it'll grow on me. But the reason why I put him with a potted plant was because this is actually for my stepmom. But hopefully the expressive style just kind of gives the painting some energy, because kittens are full of energy. And then this one of Gizmo it's a lot softer. That was kind of intentional because Gizmo is no longer with us. So yeah, even though they have been drawn with the same materials and all kind of in similar sort of scribbly styles, they do still also look quite different. Hopefully their humans will like them. It was really handy having the book to hand as well. When I was drawing Ollie, I just turned to the cats page, and when I was drawing Gizmo, I turned to to the doggos page. So I would highly recommend that. I hope that you found today's tips helpful. I'd love to know as well if you've got any of your own go-to strategies that I might not have covered today. I'm actually going to be taking a week off with the kids next week, so my next video will be in 2 weeks' time. But while I'm off, I'm going to be busy filming a few more draw stuff outside adventures. If you missed last week's video, I launched my own outdoor art prompt book. Each prompt has its own corresponding character, and you can tick them off or colour them in as you collect them. 10% of profits will go to Staffordshire Wildlife Trust. I also started a Just Giving page, and I set an initial target of £15, and if we hit that target, you guys would unlock a forfeit. And we've actually already smashed that target. A fellow creator, Ali Baliboo, very generously donated £30, which has doubled the target. Therefore, I think I'm actually going to need 2 forfeits for my next draw stuff outside adventure. So let me know if you've got any ideas. The sillier, the better. So the forfeits for my next adventure are already locked in. So I'm going to set the next fundraising target for the next adventure at £50. I'll pop links for the book, Staffordshire Wildlife Trust website, and the Just Giving page in the description. If you've enjoyed today's video, please consider hitting that like, share, or subscribe. They all go a really long way for us smaller channels and are very much appreciated. Thank you for watching, my lovelies, and I shall see you on an adventure in a fortnight.